if you can choose overtime or working on weekend?
Overtime.
Why?
Actually, stop it. Nor first nor other.
Neither one?
Neither one.
Okay,
definitely.
Cool. Well, you're your own boss, right? So, okay. Read a book or listen to the podcast?
Read a book.
What would you say it's your favorite book? I know it's a tough question, but...
Last one is Black Swan.
Okay.
It will gonna become favorite one. Okay, let's get to the point. Thinking Fast and Slow.
Cool. I love that book. Most important personal trait in professional life. And just one word.
Living abroad.
What is your biggest motivation? Again, one word.
Sustainable life. 2 words.
2 words. Okay, it's phrase. Nice. This is Chair, place where we discuss innovations. And today we are going to cover some pretty interesting stuff. Talk about neuroscience a bit, neuroplasticity, of course. Some super innovative approach called design fiction that I first heard from you. So my guest today here, I want to welcome Milan Janic, founder of Good Brained. Is that how I pronounce
Excellent.
it? Good Brained? Cool. Welcome to Chair. Tell me, first, we will come to all those subjects that I mentioned, but I know that your story, your career path, your personal story, especially the last 6 or 7 years, it's pretty interesting one. Can you tell me a bit about it?
It's a brain-oriented, and let's go back to the point why I'm so interested in the brain. And it's not just because neuroscience is such a sexy topic right now. It is, but I get to something very empiric because, exactly as you said, 6 years ago, I got a stroke. A massive one, actually a small one with all possible complications you can get when you have like 36.
How old were you?
I was 36.
So
I lived my life as I was like king of the universe, you know.
You figured everything out, right?
Exactly, yeah. And then, paf, it happened. No explanation. It was a medical accident. That's how they call it. Little stroke with massive complications after, which made me to realize that I have a brain. Right. So this was something very new for me because when we have a brain, when we work at a nice position, nice industry such advertising is, because I was in advertising and I'm still, let's say, in communication. Let's call it communication rather than advertising. And the point is that yes, I was taking everything as granted. Belongs to me, right? My life, my work, my health, everything. And then it happened, accident. And I had a massive hemorrhage in my brain after second surgery, which made me lose my executive functions. And this is very interesting. Executive functions are brain's functions which we develop by living. So actually they help us to execute things in our life. We have them, but we are not aware of them. When we lose them, actually the best explanation is that I felt as extremely stupid person.
Can you tell me which are those? Just
I get to the point. Yeah. So my point was that actually I had a full conscious about losing these executive functions. This is, for instance,
it's happening and you couldn't do anything.
Well, it means, for instance, this is multitasking is executive function. You know, multitasking means that, you know, we have the illusion right now. We know that we can do many things at the same time.
But we are doing each one.
We can speak about it later if there is the interest. But actually, you know, this is something I lost. I was able to speak and work in 3 languages at the same time, and I could not. Then after, orientation in time, orientation in space, short memory, etc., etc. So actually I lost them because my neurons were burned. So what is happening is this beauty of neuroplasticity. I have to expose myself to such a situation, environment, so other neurons will gonna take role to these specific skills I lost. I'm gonna relearn to function and to live. This is neuroplasticity story from inside. It's very exciting because in France they have very developed rehabilitation for cognitive skills. So we actually, I was aware of this progress and movement in my brain, which is happening. It's very tough in terms of like surrounding. If you ask my wife how she lived this, she was not that happy to see, but actually we were happy to see that there is development.
Let's go back to GoBrain. Tell me what you guys actually do. I know that neuroscience is the center of it, but what is the value that you produce?
After finishing NeuroCSR study and publishing it, we found this very interesting data. And after thinking how we can use it, we thought about modelizing communication in order to have a tool at the intersection between brands and communication, CSR, sustainability, and brain. That's why it's called Good Brains. It's a model. It's a neuro-based communication model, which is here to help brands. When I say brands, I speak about NGOs, GOs, etc., etc. So it's not just about a product itself. To better communicate, we said in brain-friendly way, communicate this sustainable action they're producing in order to create a better world, make let's say the change in behavior of the customer. And actually, we found out before that we cannot communicate in the same way climate change, climate crisis, and a car. This is what's going on right now. We cannot communicate. And simply, it's a general question of everyone right now. What is the answer about current climate crisis? And this is why we imagine this model which we're gonna optimize communication. So it gets very quick. You need an hour or 1 week, 1 day, or we made this offer as like 1 good hour, good day, good week, and good month. It's a creative consultancy, but it goes very quick. We don't have that much time. We don't need to invest that much to get this answer. Okay, so what's the best way to communicate something so I provoke this change of behavior? This is what we want. This is what marketing anyway is doing from the beginning, changing of behavior. So why the industry, which is so powerful in such a, we call it brain print, it's the impact on the brain. Why could we do something better for certain things which are interesting and important for all of us? So this is what Good Brain is. It's about a tool, communication model to optimize, simplify, and make more impactful communication about sustainability.
I saw the team that you gathered, and it looks impressive. So I can imagine it's pretty interesting doing things alongside those guys.
A team is, yes, it is impressive thing. Thanks to years of experience, thanks to Institute of Desirable Futures I finished also, thanks to all other connections. Actually, after getting from the advertising career before, my point was to just work with people with who I share values. And this is like the main motor to select these people. And the collaboration is very smooth in that case, of course.
You mentioned earlier that you're speaking 3 languages in the same time, but you lost that. How was it hard to go to rehabilitation on the language that is not born language to you?
That's a good question, exactly because the cognitive rehabilitation should be done in the native language.
Yeah.
Since this was not the case with me, and since the rehabilitation nor in Serbian or in English doesn't exist, and French is third language I speak, actually we spent at least 2 months to realize that we have to find another tools for the training. And here it comes the beauty of brain-friendly communications. Here it comes, when you have to train strategic thinking. This is something. It's also a cognitive executive skill. We call it the skill to organize my path to come to your studio needs strategic thinking and planification. This can be trained. Next time, when someone is, you have probably friends who are late. So there could be possibly some psychological factor. People don't want to be seen, to enter, etc., etc. But, again, it's a cognitive skill. It's a planification, time orientation. We can learn it. I lost it completely. I lived a life where actually difference between 2 minutes and 2 hours, there was no difference.
Wow.
And this is also training.
So we're coming to this incredible stuff that is called neuroplasticity. And I wanted first to ask you about the good brain, but I will come to that. I want to continue on neuroplasticity. Let's dissect it. What exactly is neuroplasticity and how we can nurture it? You can say that from personal example, that because it's not just something that you wanted to put on a higher level, you needed to engage in neuroplasticity to recover what you lost. Right?
Whatever I'm going to speak about, it's extremely important for me because it's a very personal story.
Yeah.
So I'm not a neuroscientist. This is my personal observation of my brain and how communication could be could generate this transformation of brain. Neuroplasticity is a beautiful ability of our brain to rewire, to be able to live and exist in certain environment. This means when you expose yourself to a certain environment, your brain answers by new connections. This is something which is very obvious in kids' brain, They're very plastic, they smoothly, without that much of effort, could develop new synapses.
Yeah, I read a study actually about young kids, especially because of neuroplasticity, that they can learn some extremely complex concepts like theory of relativity. It's so easy for them. And just because of neuroplasticity, right?
Because it's we are far away from tabula rasa, but there is a point where actually the idea is a good one. That when, the kids are small, there are many synapses. And then synapses which are used very often, they become stronger. Others, they just die. So that's why it's important to expose them to different environments. That's why we are these wizards of behavior of children. And this is what happened even after in my case, the idea was to expose myself to a certain level of cognitive problems, so I'm going to be able to answer it, not to be frustrated, because at the beginning of my accident, of course, I was extremely frustrated.
Because there was a difference from the yesterday.
Exactly, and I had also this conscious. That's the point, because kid doesn't have conscious. I was the adult who has a conscious that I became limited So I had just to live with this, Of course, I was like a year I was on Prozac because of this. Because I need to be operational. And the beauty of rehabilitation is also that, we see the progress. I like to say always my Sudoku story because, for instance, I didn't like Sudoku at all before. I didn't like it. Simply, I had like big frustration to just see Sudoku. Sudoku, like 9 numbers, nine numbers, and there is not such a thing there, to be complicated. And then at a certain point, when I was trained on the strategic thinking, they pushed me to play Sudoku. Playing Sudoku for me became, I felt a physical frustration because I was not able to answer on a problem. We had to change it. It was so hard for me to just see that I cannot. It's a simple one. I cannot. And then after a certain period, I just got the meeting with neurologists, and there are 2 types of therapies there. And I said, okay, there is a problem with this level. So what's going on there? Yeah, there is a problem because your strategic thinking and planification are off. And Sudoku is for that. And again, main thing in Sudoku is verification. This is also executive skill. We have it. All the time we have it. I lost it completely. Verification means, to think about how much money I'm going to give to the taxi driver when I pay. That's a verification. I lost it completely.
Wow. You mentioned Prozac.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a different kind of question. Are there any shortcuts to come to neuroplasticity? In terms of nootropics, right? Something that can enhance our ability to engage in neuroplasticity.
The topic we're gonna possibly speak about later, which is design fiction, is also this idea of liberating the mind to be able to find new shortcuts, new synapses. And I'm not expert in medication. I'm gonna just say my experience with Prozac because I had to just simply be on the ground.
Yeah.
To be able to continue. But after I discovered this all design fiction world and the idea of liberating from blueprints and just thinking wide, and here, if this answering your question about is there any other way? I think yes. There is another way.
You told me that you are not expert in nootropics. My next question was about psychedelics, but if you're not there, then with psychedelics probably neither, right? I like to ask those questions because I read that incredible book by the inventor of LSD, and it calls My Problematic Child. And he by accident found it and started to experiment with it, and how influenced his ego, how he influenced his life. So I'm pretty excited about those kinds of subjects, so that's why I wanted to ask you.
My experience was this was the moment when my wife was pregnant, and I must say that this helped a lot to both of us to run this period, of course. But the story, I would like to also desatanize Prozac because it's a good medication. This medication helped me a lot to run through this period, because at a certain point, when we are very, very not stable in our mind, we need to be stable at certain points to be able to work on.
Yeah.
And this is a chemistry which we need from outside.
We are coming to that pretty interesting concept of design fiction, and you came about talking about neuroplasticity to design fiction because I know you're hyped about it. And when we first talked, you explained. First, I heard name. It was like, okay, is this something again, some kind of design thinking and something that put together? But then you explained to me, and I started to reading about it. It was like, well, this is something different. So what exactly is design fiction?
It's something new I discovered also a few months ago, let's say, deeply with this team named Futuron. It's a collective of design fiction thinkers, let's say. And here we get to the point of liberation of brain. It's a discipline of design where we explore different scenarios to be able to pick up and choose where we want to go. Let's get to the common ground. We don't know the future. What we know, we don't know. Right? Simply, we are not prophets. We don't know. What we can do, we can explore possible futures with an S, with a plural, in order to pick up where we want to go. For this, we don't need to be a poor or rich country. We just need the awareness that we have a tool for fiction. Design fiction is beautiful also because at the end of the process of building scenarios, we can also prototype artifacts to be able to touch and discuss about possible futures and have better conscious and connection where we want to go. Design fiction we're going to enter certainly even in education right now in France. And I believe that this is a future of debating and thinking when we speak about companies, it's about prospective department who does this. But prospective usually takes the bad scenario. In design fiction, there is no utopia and dystopia,
It's only scenarios, right?
Well,
options.
Let's explore.
Can you give me an example? Maybe it will be, it sounds abstract,
okay.
But maybe it will be much better explained that you give me some example where to use it to be practical with it. I know that you're with design fiction, you're exploring big ideas because you already thought of futures, like multiple ones. And of course, when we talk about future and multiple futures, there is always talking about the big ideas, right? But can you try to get to something practical?
Let's speak about mobility.
Okay.
Very practical one,
yeah.
Right?
Hot subject right now. Right?
Mobility. And certainly we know that there are going to be changes coming in next few years, in decades for sure, big changes. How this new scenario will going to impact certain industries? I spoke yesterday with my brother about construction industry. Mobility will going to influence it a lot. Let's explore. Let's not wait for the moment to come that we're going to have the law telling to us what to do, what not to do. Let's be a little bit in advance and see, okay, so mobility will going to impact construction. Mobility will going to impact travel industry, for instance. A lot, because certainly our kids might face the fact that they're going to know there'll be no airplane industry such as exists today. It's a big thing, right? Let's think about how we can prepare future and not to just wait. Actually, design fiction gives this active attitude towards futures. This is what I like. There is. It's not just like a reaction to certain action. There is, okay, I'm ready. I'm here. It's me who. Actually, that's a beautiful feeling of responsibility to the future.
Okay.
In brands, if we get back to the brands, let's speak about pharma. That's also a hot topic.
Okay.
In pharma, we know very, very clearly that very soon the percentage of people having Alzheimer, cancer, or other diseases is going to be huge, massive.
Because lifespan is starting.
Yes. What is the answer of pharma industry? It's not just about making new medication. You need in other services, in other approaches. You need in other awareness about it. So let's explore these scenarios.
All great ideas. Can you just concentrate on one and show me exactly how you use design fiction concept on that? Do you create? How you approach this dissecting the idea? For example, you made that example of pharma, and how you use design fiction to create different possible futures and connections between them?
It depends a lot on the methodology, because there are several methodologies in design fiction, and again, you are creating the playground for debate at the end. So this means that in design fiction, you don't need designers. You need also people who are building this brand, who are building the society, who are parts of it, who could be. It's very nice to also see people who say they don't know to make ideas in these workshops, also to see that when they liberate, they can bring a lot, but they don't call it ideas. It's like when you ask someone who, can you draw me something, then say, no, I don't know to draw. No, I didn't ask you to draw me beautiful drawing of Matisse. No, I asked you just to draw me a cat. You don't need that much to draw a cat. So actually you need a kit and toolbox for this part. You could be, you could be supported by designers in the process. And then actually you are decomposing, composing. It's like Qubit did, there is an analytic and synthetic part. At the end, you have this concrete scenario with concrete things to be able to project yourself and to see, okay, is this a place I want to go? Not sure. Can I do something else? So actually the added value is debate, is this beautiful question, what if? We usually just take things as they are. What if it's not like that? Does it cost something to ask this question? No. Do you need some support from others? Yes, you might need. You need methodology, of course, that there are many methodologies in design fiction. I was doing a lot in design fiction for social and society questions, let's say. So that's why these scenarios were like big scenarios. Like, what if tomorrow we are completely disconnected from each other? What if tomorrow there is the empathy, lack of empathy is disease? So entering in this field, it was very interesting for me, because you feel immediately, okay, empathy is needed, absolutely needed. But I mean, if this is imposed, what if I don't want to be empathic? We enter in that. So, there is this controversy, which is the beauty of like turning things upside down. Again, in a safe area, there is a big difference between game and play. We spoke a few days ago. Game, there are rules. There's something to achieve. In play, it's like kids. There is a playground, there are toys, and there is a process of liberation, of thinking, of co-creation. That's also a beautiful thing, this collective intelligence as the way to build idea, where idea doesn't belong to me, it's ours, it's a good for everyone. We get back again to this sustainability mindset and this common good. I don't know this.
You mentioned empathy, and I will go back to empathy later on, because we will come again to neuroscience. Basically, what happened to you led you to design fiction, led you to neuroscience. You told me you're not neuroscientist, but you enter it because of this. So basically that led you to create Good Brain, right? What you guys do?
First part was this discovery of that I have a brain, right? It's such a nice tool, and actually I needed to set it up because I could not work because I was the other time. I was a creative director, so I mean, my brain is my tool to work with, of course. I got a kid. I left my job. And that's for the first time I took, as we say, there is like one French philosopher said, like taking time to think about time.
Who's
beautiful, huh? Mathieu Boudin. It's beautiful. Like you need to take this time. It's very heavy in this race to take this time. It happened to me. It happened to me at a certain point that, I said, okay, like now 6 months, you have to stop. And it's not just you're going to stop. You're not going to be able to continue. You have to stop. And this time when I had the kid also, my question was, okay, so what do I do for this little one? What's my impact in general? I mean, I can say, yes, I love it. But then what do I do exactly? And I was in marketing, and I'm in marketing, and I'm a storyteller. Beauty of marketing is that we are able to make things desirable, and we don't need them. And this is the beauty of storytelling in marketing. And stories, as like we said, Harari, as sapiens thing, we live in stories. And so then after we started with Dr. Dimitriadis, this study, NeuroCSR. It's a very first study of CSR communications and their impact on the brain. The point is that I questioned communication advertising, especially when we speak about environment and the impact of the brain on the brain. Question was, okay, so there is a big investment in CSR industry, there is a big investment in sustainability, there is not that much of behavioral change.
Why?
That was the question I asked, and we asked. So we organized. This was a massive work. It took us a lot of efforts to organize it, to test it. We used EEG. We exposed people to millennials to like the best videos speaking about environment to see what's going on in their brain. And then we found out this beauty of communication. We found out that actually when we speak about such a topic, we speak with we say it in neuroscience, high cognitive load. When we speak about environment, we speak it in such a way that our brain says, I spend too much energy and I don't get anything. I don't want to listen to you.
Why is that?
Because we just have this need to justify that we are doing something. This again, something very natural. And it's new because for the first time in human history, we are in such a position that yes, we have to react now quickly. We have like 2 years to the tipping point. Race to zero is it's the big road we have to follow. So simply, there is a high pressure of environment, high pressure of resources which are limited. And again, getting back to my story, I was thinking, okay, so I was selling products, let's say, for all these years. Sometimes they were not aligned with my values. Sometimes yes.
So it's your job, right?
But yeah, that's my job. I'm just answering, and I'm just okay. But it might be that I can do something else, because what's important for me right now is this little one, and her life. And then in Good Brain we define this new skill. I called it neuroeco-empathy. The ability to connect with the future generations. To have the empathy with them. It's very heavy. It's hard. I have to just stop certain things right now so my kid might live better life tomorrow. How do I do this? Super heavy, but it's possible. Empathy is a cause and is the aim.
It sounds utopistic, right?
I believe that we have to dream high and well. So, if we dream realistically, then I'm not so sure that we're going to get to that point. We always go down, That's like Viktor Frankl, that's the other one who I want to always tell, You have to dream high, and then after, if we get lower, we're fine. So yes, if I have to pick up, if you ask me the question, utopia, dystopia, yeah, I'm going to tell you utopia. Definitely. It might be of a Euro Prozac.
Yeah, maybe. we are coming to that subject of empathy, right? And that's something that neuroscience is tackling all around, because it's in the intersection of many different things, right? And but I want to ask you on your opinion about intersection between empathy and technology, because right now we are living in a very technology driven world, right? And on the other hand, neuroscience is something that is getting more and more traction today. So I want to ask you about your experiences about intersection of empathy and technology, to talk about those ideas to how to measure empathy, for example.
You know that in my head there is always still like a valve, a pump, you know. So I'm kind of like I'm kind of half robot, you know, like right now. So the point about empathy for me is that it's again a skill we human of this planet, we have it, we can develop it, we can work on it, we can teach our kids, and this is something which connects us to the other. Could it be measured? That's better to ask Dimitriadis for this, you know. I'm not interested in measures here. I would like to just have toolkit which we're gonna help to teachers to show beauty of empathy and connection in a primary school. I would like to show that beauty of let's say collaboration instead of competition. Here we come to the point of the empathy, because collaboration, it's a new way of competition. You know, we have to, one simple little virus showed to us how connected we are. So why don't we just get on connecting more and more by our minds? Technology, yes, it could help us massively. Because right now we are super connected. Even with technology existing right now, we speak about open data. Yes, I'm for open data, for open source. I believe that these are potentials to develop this connection. Even if you ask me about greenwashing, which is like a big topic right now in France, I believe this is a good sign. Good sign, because it means that even the big players now are thinking about what do I do? Let's try to wash. Technology and open source data says like, no, you cannot wash these things because everything is public now. Everything. So be precautious. You know, there are full campaigns in France completely cancelled because of the Deontological Association for greenwashing. Can you imagine it? There are people who are just judging if something is factual or not. You cannot say anymore that they call it responsible communications, you know. You cannot say anymore, this water comes from the pure spring of... No. It has to be factual. Your communication has to be factual. The power of brands here is that they have public. They just have to find out what to say. You know, one influencer has to build the public and the audience.
Yeah.
They have it. Let's just use it for good, right? I mean, again, maybe I'm too utopistic, but I still believe it's a good, it's a good direction.
I always like to finish chair talks with a future story. So maybe we can use design fiction for this, right? It's used for future, right?
It is.
So you're not neuroscientist, but you interacted with it a lot. What is the future of neuroscience? Hardest question for last, right?
Let's turn it to what's the future of brain.
Even better.
In that case, because neuroscience, I don't know that much brain. I know that
Okay,
I have
let's
one
go
and
with
it's
the brain.
there.
I agree.
We'll see, but definitely this is something we have to think now to be able to pick up where we want to go. I believe that's a main tool we have for everything to change, from attitude to our behavior. And I believe we're going to meet it more. We're going to have more tools to shape it in a way how we want. I don't know where is like the artificial intelligence, all this. I don't know where it is, but I believe in the beauty of a tool we have, and I believe that we're gonna just be more aware.
Milan, this was different, and this was maybe utopistic a bit, and I enjoyed a lot.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks for the invitation.
Next Thursday, next innovation talk. Subscribe. Thank you.